state of Georgia is the largest state east of the Mississippi, even larger than Florida by land mass. So there's plenty of land. And this large concentration of light that you see here is Atlanta. In this metro Atlanta itself, just 2 weeks ago, surged past Miami as the first time in modern history, surged past Miami as the metro area with the most people. So it passed Miami, and this is something that really happened during the COVID pandemic. We added more people, Miami lost some people, and now Atlanta, in essence, has reestablished itself as the epicenter of the Southeast. We're a coastal state, as you see, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I just want to provide an overview of what's going on in Georgia, how we can help. Things like workforce, recent developments. We'll get into this, but let's get started. A few facts about Georgia that I've already mentioned. We are growing at a rapid rate. Atlanta is seen by many as the epicenter of the Southeast. It was mentioned earlier that, and it's really known in the United States, that Miami is sort of the capital of Latin America. We see Atlanta as the capital of the Southeast, or the epicenter of the Southeast. And then number 5 is one that we're very proud of. 18 Fortune 500 companies that call Georgia home, and you will know some of them. This map puts things into perspective. This is a flight map that shows you that within 4 hours, how far you can reach. Atlanta has the busiest airport in the world, moving just over 100 million passengers a year. The Port of Savannah is also an instrumental piece of infrastructure for us. Over 200 countries and territories were served by the Port of Savannah last year. And as the world continues to endure supply chain shocks, the Port of Savannah continues to keep up. The Garden City Terminal at the Port of Savannah is the longest contiguous terminal in North America. So this just points out just how strong and how robust our infrastructure is. Why am I here? I mentioned that we help and support companies of all sizes and from all industries who are looking to enter and establish themselves in the U.S. We offer a consultative service that is free and confidential. We are state government representatives that are at your disposal to help make this process as easy and as informative as possible. We work very closely with our friends at tax advisory firms and lawyers. You need them. But we will offer you the warm welcome and the support that you need. What I would also mention is that we'll go into greater details as to how Georgia could be a fit for your company and ensure that you have a soft landing in Georgia. We have a number of things that we're known for and a number of things that we're strong at. And so our position in the United States is important. Within a 2-day truck drive, you can reach 80% of the U.S. market. Remember that first map that I showed you? All of those lights on the eastern half, that's roughly 80% of the population that is represented there. And then, we have a favorable business climate, something that I will touch a little bit later as well. These are some of the sectors that we are known for and that we're strong in. Automotive was mentioned. We have the aerospace sector. I know Italy is very strong. It's actually one of the centers for aerospace excellence here in Europe. We recognize that. Gulfstream, if any of you know what a Gulfstream private jet is, those are made in Georgia. We have a number of agribusiness, everything from peaches to peanuts to chickens and Coca-Cola. Those are some of the things that we're known for. And technology, fintech, cybersecurity, the industries of the future. A company these days cannot really survive without having a strong foundation of cybersecurity. This map goes into greater specificity, the sectors and where people are employed. And you may wonder, why is animal slaughtering at the top position? Chickens. We produce millions and millions of chickens in the U.S. Georgia historically is an agricultural economy. It still is. It's still the #1 industry in Georgia. What's number 2? Aerospace. And so you kind of see that reflected here, but we still have a lot of people who are employed in agribusiness in Georgia. This is a very important slide. 18 Fortune 500 companies call Georgia home. Coca-Cola, UPS, Delta Airlines, and some others have established themselves there. Some of them even moved. UPS moved to Atlanta a couple of decades ago. 18 call Georgia home. Over 90%, the rest, 90% of Fortune 500 companies have at least a presence or a subsidiary in the state. And so Atlanta's position in the Southeast is indispensable. This is a reflection of it, and being present in Georgia offers you sort of the access and the exposure to some of these big names that are already present in Georgia. When we zoom into Atlanta, I mentioned technology. This is Atlanta and all of the highways that crisscross it. I-75 that goes up to the Midwest, I-85 that goes to the Carolinas, I-20 that goes down to Texas. But this map shows, in essence, the increasing number of technology companies that are opting for Atlanta as their southeast location. And we've had a number of announcements in the last year because of the thriving environment that has been built for this industry. Microsoft, Airbnb, Visa, Micron have all made decisions to commit significant investments. In fact, Microsoft's East Coast campus will be built in Atlanta. We also are very favorable and welcoming to startups that are considering a new home, and we work very closely with them. Tech Square has one of the largest concentrations of tech companies anywhere in the country. And Tech Square is actually where our department, our ministry, is headquartered. And this Tech Square forms part, or is located, co-located, where the Georgia Institute of Technology is also based. Does anybody know what this car is? Has anybody ever seen this car or this pickup truck? We got a gentleman in the back. This is a Rivian. This is an electric pickup truck that drives faster than any Ferrari or Lamborghini that you'll see on the road. Fully electric. It is Georgia's largest investment in its history. $5 billion, 7,000 people will go towards building this car. And Rivian is also partially supported by Jeff Bezos from Amazon. So e-mobility has also arrived in Georgia, and all of the suppliers and the supply chains that will need to be developed for it will certainly support the development of this car. And it can't be done without the strength and the presence and the participation of our leading universities, the two largest being Georgia Tech and the University of Georgia. Georgia Tech is, in essence, what you would call here in Europe a polytechnic, an institute of technology. It is a tremendous pipeline for engineering talent, not only in Georgia, but across the country as well. Let's talk about the topic that is on everybody's mind, especially as unemployment rates continue to decrease and decrease and decrease, and companies have difficulties finding workforce. So this is a picture, as you can see. So this is a bit of a marketing thing. So this is a gentleman who's welding, but he has camouflage on. Veterans in the United States play an important role in entering the workforce. A person may enter the military, put in their service, and when they retire from the military, they're in their early 40s. They're at the prime of their careers. And as they leave the military, as they retire from the military, they could potentially be the workforce that you're looking for. They're disciplined, they're skilled, and they want to stay in Georgia, where many of these bases are located. So we see our bases and our veterans as a wonderful source and a wonderful pipeline of talent that will help staff the facilities, your facilities, in the near future. And there are two ways of doing this. On the left-hand side, you have the production worker, the blue-collar worker. On the right-hand side, you have the white-collar worker, the more qualified and the one that has a degree or two. Left-hand side, if you are looking to staff your production in the United States, the state of Georgia has a program called Quick Start, where we help to identify, help you recruit, train, and qualify workers free of charge to qualifying companies. That is supported by the 22 technical colleges and their satellite campuses that are spread throughout the state. On the right-hand side, as I mentioned, we have our universities that play an instrumental part in feeding that pipeline. If you're looking for an engineer or an executive, these are some of the highest-ranking universities in the country. And so we're trying to cover our bases, and then we're also looking at the migration of people coming in from other parts of the country. As I mentioned, Atlanta and the data that we saw a couple of weeks ago proves this, and then also the veterans that we see. We have 83 Italian companies in Georgia. Large and small, family-owned, corporate-held, whatever the case may be. There are 2 more slides of logos, so I will go slowly through these. A majority of my time is spent working with family-owned small and medium-sized enterprises. They need the greatest support. They're the ones that are very cautious. They need time. They take it step by step. And we'll work with these companies however long it takes for them to make that decision. But we're there from the beginning. So this is slide 1. I know Alitalia is no longer, so we will have to change that logo. I understand. This is slide 2. So these 2 were last year: tomato sauce and refrigerators. For, if you go to a gas station or a supermarket, Kaiser Warren will most likely supply that. Leonardo Luxottica is our largest employer in Georgia. Massive operations. This is slide 3. You probably recognize more logos. Pirelli makes premium tires and supplies the OEMs in the region. What else is here? Rivacold is another refrigeration company. Mappe has been in Georgia since 1984, has 4 plants. They're doing very well. We're very happy with them. So this gives you sort of a preview of the diversity of companies that we have. Incentives comes up when talking about a project, but really I don't want to overwhelm you with this slide. The only thing that you should understand from this slide, and I'll leave it to the tax advisors and the accountants to go into this, but what you see here is that Georgia is broken up into tiny little pieces, counties. Can anybody guess how many counties there are in the United States? Just guess. Any number. What would you say, Filiberto? So there are roughly 3,144 counties in America. Small number. The state with the most is Texas. We have 159 of them. So when you say, I need to go to America, I have to find a location, you're going to find one of these counties. Because it's not that you're going to Atlanta. Atlanta is a metropolitan area comprised of 29 counties. You will pick one, and each one is different. These colors represent different levels of development and different levels of incentives that you would receive for your investment and for the jobs that you would create. Keep that in mind. 3,000 counties. You're going to pick one of them. One of the things that we ask from the state perspective, and your accountant and your lawyer will ask the same, you need to understand what your plan is for the United States. Location, capital investment, number of jobs, how much you're going to actually pay these people. These 4 factors will determine, in essence, how you're going to establish yourself in the United States. But most importantly, you have to have a plan. You have to have a business plan. You have to have a motive. If you go back to those slides and say, listen, I have to be in the US because I'm going to supply Pirelli, great. You're one step in the right direction. But you have to understand the investment and the next steps that you're going to take, because we look at this questionario along a 5-year investment period, typically. Yeah? It could be 7, it could be 10. We're flexible, but we want to understand where you want to take the company in the medium term. And this is very important. So these are some of the things that we're known for. One of the things that we're very proud of is being responsive. The reason why we're here in Munich is that we serve as a bridge between the company here in Europe and our colleagues in Atlanta. So at any point during the day, you can reach a state representative. Incentives come up. When I speak to companies, the first thing they ask me is, well, how many incentives could I get? They think I carry a big bag of money and I'm doling out cash. That's not how these things work. Incentives in the US are not subsidies. They are performance-based. So you perform, you invest, we monitor these metrics, and you will be incentivized accordingly. You should see incentives primarily as a way of lowering your initial costs. That's how you should see it. From my experience, incentives usually are usually not the definitive and the most important factor in a location. There are many other things. How close you need to be to a customer, how close you need to be to a raw material, a highway, a port, an airport. Incentives is the cherry on top, right? They're the things that make the deal in the US. Incentives make the deal sweeter. But you have to do everything else to ensure that your business is able to succeed. And lastly, these are some of the things that we offer. We're here today. We'll continue speaking to you. We will come back. Aftercare is important. Once you are established in Georgia, we will come visit with you. We will interact with you. We will ensure that you're not encountering any difficulties. One of the most important things that Italian companies often forget is this point here. Once an Italian company establishes itself in Georgia, you are as American as apple pie. Okay? You have Italian roots. Wonderful. And it should stay that way. But we, as Georgia, consider you as one of our own. You're an American company in Georgia, and so we will support you as such. And a big part of that basically means that we are affording you and giving you all of the benefits and advantages that we would give our own companies that are established there. Whether you're trying to identify new customers, suppliers, and opportunities to export. One of the things I should have said in the beginning is that the Europe office, Georgia's Europe office, is one of 12 offices that we have around the world. And so if an Italian company comes to us and says, listen, we're curious about the Brazilian office. We know that there is a Georgia representative in São Paulo. Can he help me understand the market in Brazil? And then all of a sudden, an Italian company in Georgia is trying to find new market opportunities in Brazil through one of our representatives, one of my colleagues. So we've done this with Japanese companies, Italian companies, German companies who've come to us and said, listen, we want to unleash and understand, or maybe even start with some sales in the Brazilian market or the Colombian market because we see that you have a contact there. Can you help us? So besides the incentives and all of the other things that we discussed, we are here. We are at your disposal to help, and the relationship begins and continues for many years to come. And so I'll leave it with that. I appreciate your attention today, and I hope we have a chance to speak later. Is that clear? Thank you so much.